Imagine that you're sitting in a bar with friends, enjoying yourself as you sip some scotch or down a dirty martini. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman marches in, loudly praying and singing about the evils of alcohol. Then you notice she's carrying a hatchet. She starts swinging wildly at all the liquor bottles, destroying the booze and wrecking the bar's interior. Say hello to Carrie Nation. Born in Kentucky in 1846, Carrie Amelia Nation and her family moved frequently throughout the South and Midwest to avoid the forced evictions brought on by the Civil War. When she was 19, Carrie met Charles Gloyd, a doctor and Union soldier. 2 years later, they got married, but Carrie soon regretted that decision. Gloyd had a big drinking problem, and Carrie left him and returned to her parents, including her mentally ill mother. Just 2 years after they got married, Gloyd died of alcoholism, leaving Carrie to take care of their infant daughter. In 1874, she married David Nation, a lawyer and minister. Having seen the potential evils of alcohol firsthand, Carrie got inspired to join the Temperance movement. In Kansas, she started a branch of the Women's Christian Temperance Union and sang to drinkers in saloons about the vice of intoxication. She reportedly greeted bartenders by saying, "Good morning, destroyer of men's souls." She recruited some of her fellow Women's Christian Temperance Union members, calling them the Home Defenders, and the group started destroying and burning kegs of liquor. In 1900, she felt that a message from God encouraged her to continue, so she attacked bars and taverns throughout Kansas and Missouri with rocks and her infamous hatchet, announcing to bar patrons that she had come to save them from being drunkards. All that smashing and swinging a hatchet caused some serious property damage, and Carrie was arrested dozens of times. Her husband also divorced her. After realizing that the pen can be mightier than the sword, she put down her hatchet to focus on editing temperance-themed newsletters, giving lectures on the topic, and, of course, selling mini hatchets. In 1911, 9 years before the 18th Amendment prohibition went into effect, Carrie died. Today, her house in Medicine Lodge, Kansas is a U.S. National Historic Landmark, and several bars throughout the country are named in honor of her. So how much did Carrie influence societal attitudes towards alcohol, and just how big a role did the temperance movement play when it came to prohibition? We teamed up with Lindsay Graham, the host of the popular podcast American History Tellers, to get his take on the topic. Here's Lindsay.
The temperance movement and the Women's Christian Temperance Union in particular made impressive contributions towards passing prohibition. They raised awareness and won a lot of hearts and minds. But remember, women couldn't vote. And without the political power and big money of industrialists and lobbyists, a constitutional amendment would have been unlikely. The Anti-Saloon League, well-funded and politically aggressive, took the religious and women's rights temperance movement and made it a political force. I don't believe many historians think Carrie Nation herself had much of a role in making things happen. She made headlines, sure, but in a way that was sensational, not consequential. At the time, the people who really made prohibition happen often distanced themselves from her. They worried she made the movement ridiculous. I mean, she was throwing rocks in bars while quoting Bible verses. But she was probably a harbinger of the more extremist actions taken throughout the 1920s, like vigilante speakeasy raids by the KKK.
Thanks, Lindsay. To learn more about prohibition, as well as other topics like the Cold War, the Gold Rush, and the Space Race, check out American History Tellers, a podcast from Wondery. Thanks for watching Sticky Figures. Stay tuned for more informative and fascinating facts about notable figures and events from history.